Welcome to Discover Top 5, where we bring you the most eye-opening, jaw-dropping, and surprising lists from across the world. If you're someone who loves exploring the world, from its breathtaking natural beauty to its rich history and everything in between, you're in the right place. But there's a twist. While we often show you the wonders of our planet, we also take a deeper dive into the places that might surprise you. Today, we're going to uncover some shocking truths that could make you rethink your next big travel adventure. Have you ever dreamed of strolling through ancient European streets, gazing at magnificent castles, or savoring the finest local cuisine while basking in a stunning sunset? Sure, Europe is home to some of the most magical destinations in the world, but what if I told you that some of these dream locations come with risks that could put your safety on the line? What if your dream trip could quickly turn into a nightmare, with escalating violence, political instability, and even rising terrorism in some of the most popular tourist spots? In today's video, we're going to explore the 5 most dangerous places in Europe right now, places where your safety might be at serious risk, and where your travel plans could end up more dangerous than you ever imagined. From war zones and crime-ridden streets to cities under political chaos in countries that feel more like battlefields, these are places you need to know about before planning your next European adventure. Are you ready to discover the unexpected side of Europe, the side that you don't hear about in travel brochures? Let's dive into the top 5 most dangerous countries in Europe that you should think twice about visiting. Stay tuned, because what we have to show you will change the way you think about traveling. Ukraine's ongoing war has transformed it into one of the most dangerous places in Europe, and the situation shows no sign of improving. Air raid sirens are now a part of everyday life, with missile strikes constantly threatening civilians. Since the war began, over 10,000 lives have been lost, and many more have been injured. The destruction is widespread, and even basic infrastructure is falling apart. In many cities, essential services like healthcare and food distribution are at a breaking point. Beyond the war itself, the situation is even more dire due to armed gangs, landmines, and rising crime rates in lawless areas. Power outages and food shortages are also significant concerns. For anyone thinking of traveling to Ukraine, the risk of stepping into a war zone is not something to take lightly. Even humanitarian workers have faced great danger in the country, and things are only escalating. The reality of visiting a nation in the midst of such a devastating conflict should make anyone pause and consider if it's worth the risk. Russia has rapidly become one of the riskiest countries for foreigners to visit, especially Westerners. The political climate in the country has shifted dramatically, and speaking your mind or simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time could lead to serious consequences. Arrests for espionage or spreading misinformation have skyrocketed, and authorities often crack down harshly on dissent. Violent crime is also on the rise, with corruption and distrust of law enforcement becoming more widespread. Protests are routinely met with brutal force, making even peaceful demonstrations a dangerous gamble. Public gatherings can turn violent, and police presence is not guaranteed in many parts of the country. The sanctions imposed by international organizations have caused severe economic strain, and many businesses are closing down. The economy is faltering, and many locals are feeling the strain. This growing hostility toward foreigners makes Russia an increasingly volatile destination. With political instability and rising crime rates, would you still visit a place where saying the wrong thing could get you arrested? France is known for its romantic streets, delicious wine, and iconic landmarks. But beneath the surface, the country is facing rising danger. Mass protests, violent riots, and a surge in criminal activity have turned parts of the country into hotspots of chaos. Major cities like Paris, Marseille, and Lyon have experienced a sharp increase in violent crime, with armed robberies, gang violence, and even terrorist threats making headlines. In fact, the situation has gotten so bad that some neighborhoods are now considered no-go zones for law enforcement. Riots have become frequent, with police officers attacked, businesses looted, and cars torched. The recent demonstrations over pension reform spiraled into chaos, showing just how fragile the peace in the country has become. Power outages, food shortages, and strikes are just the beginning of the unrest plaguing France. Would you feel safe walking through Paris, knowing that violence and political unrest could break out at any moment? The country's beautiful streets might no longer be as charming as they once were in the face of these challenges. Once considered one of the safest countries in Europe, the United Kingdom is now grappling with a rising tide of crime and political instability. Knife crime in London has reached alarming levels, and other cities like Birmingham, Manchester, and Liverpool are seeing an uptick in gang-related violence. The UK's economic crisis is also having a significant impact. Inflation has made basic necessities unaffordable for millions, and food banks are now stretched to their limits. Protests over the cost of living crisis have become common, with tensions between communities growing. Extremist groups have begun clashing in the streets, and civil unrest is at an all-time high. The healthcare system, once revered for its efficiency, is facing major issues. The NHS is overwhelmed with record waiting times, hospital overcrowding, and constant strikes. Rural areas are also seeing a rise in violent crime, with home invasions becoming increasingly common. With violent crime on the rise, and the economy in turmoil, would you still feel safe in a country where even the police admit they're struggling to maintain control? Turkey's reputation as a destination for history, culture, and breathtaking landscapes is quickly being overshadowed by political unrest, natural disasters, and a surge in crime. The devastating 7.8 magnitude earthquake that struck earlier this year left tens of thousands dead and millions displaced. Despite months of recovery efforts, many people are still living in temporary shelters with little access to basic services. Crime has surged, particularly in the hardest-hit regions, and the economic situation has worsened significantly. Inflation is rampant, and the Turkish lira has lost over 80% of its value in the last 5 years. Protests against the government have become frequent, often escalating into violent confrontations with riot police. Terrorism remains a threat, particularly near the Syrian border, and even in major tourist hubs like Istanbul. Organized crime, including human trafficking and mafia-style executions, has taken hold in some parts of the country. Would you still feel safe traveling through Turkey, knowing that danger could be lurking around every corner? Italy's stunning coastlines and rich history have long made it a favorite tourist destination, but beneath the picturesque surface, the country is struggling with rising crime rates, political instability, and economic turmoil. Mafia organizations still exert control over entire regions, running drug trades, extortion rings, and other violent enterprises. Tourists are frequent targets of pickpockets, scams, and even violent muggings. Italy is also facing an economic crisis. Its national debt is one of the highest in Europe, and unemployment rates are skyrocketing, particularly among young people. Protests have turned violent, with clashes between demonstrators and the police in major cities. Add to that the natural disasters plaguing Italy, from earthquakes to deadly heat waves, and it's clear that the country is facing some serious challenges. Would you still want to visit Italy knowing that a protest could turn into a violent riot at any moment? Once seen as the epitome of safety and stability in Europe, Germany is now dealing with a surge in crime, violent protests, and rising terrorist threats. Major cities like Berlin, Frankfurt, and Hamburg have witnessed a dramatic increase in violent crime, including stabbings, gang violence, and organized crime. Extremist activity is also on the rise, with both far-right and far-left groups engaging in violent protests. Terrorist plots have been thwarted in recent years, but experts warn that Germany remains a high-risk target for further attacks. Even public transportation systems are no longer as safe as they once were, with reports of assaults on trains and buses becoming more frequent. The economic situation is also deteriorating, with inflation driving up the cost of living and layoffs affecting many industries. Protests against rising prices and government policies have become more common, often turning violent. Would you still feel comfortable visiting Germany, knowing that violent unrest and terrorism could strike at any time? Sweden, known for its high standard of living and low crime rates, is now struggling with a crime epidemic that has taken many by surprise. Gang violence has escalated dramatically, with gunfights, car bombings, and assassinations becoming commonplace in cities like Stockholm, Malmö, and Gothenburg. In 2023 alone, Sweden saw over 60 bombings and nearly 400 shootings. Organized crime is out of control, with drug trafficking, human smuggling, and extortion becoming rampant in many neighborhoods. Some areas of major cities are now considered no-go zones, where law enforcement is barely present and criminals rule the streets. Terrorism is also a growing concern, with Sweden becoming a higher-risk target for extremist activity. Security experts have raised the national threat level, warning that attacks could occur at any time. Would you still feel safe walking through Stockholm or Malmö, knowing that you could be caught in the crossfire of a gang shootout or even a terrorist attack? Spain, famous for its sunny beaches and vibrant culture, is facing a crime surge that's making even locals uneasy. Tourists are often targeted by pickpockets and muggers, particularly in cities like Barcelona, Madrid, and Valencia. Barcelona, in fact, has been labeled the pickpocket capital of Europe, with gangs working together to steal from unsuspecting visitors. Violent crime is also on the rise, with knife attacks, armed robberies, and sexual assaults becoming more common. Even public transportation is not immune, with reports of theft and harassment on buses and metro lines making people wary of traveling alone, especially at night. Spain is also dealing with political instability, with protests over rising inflation and government policies often turning violent. Demonstrations have escalated into clashes with the police, and there are fears that the situation could worsen, with crime and civil unrest on the rise. Would you still feel safe visiting Spain, knowing that even locals are warning tourists to stay alert? Greece, with its beautiful islands and ancient landmarks, is now facing a rise in crime, violent protests, and a growing terrorism threat. Cities like Athens and Thessaloniki have become hotspots for street crime, with armed robberies, break-ins, and violent assaults targeting both locals and tourists. Even famous historical sites like the Acropolis aren't safe from thieves looking to take advantage of tourists. Beyond crime, Greece is struggling with aggressive protests that often turn into full-scale riots. Political tensions have led to violent demonstrations, leaving streets filled with tear gas, burning cars, and clashes with police. Illegal activity, such as human trafficking and smuggling, has also taken hold in certain rural regions, turning them into no-go zones. Authorities are struggling to control the problem, and some towns are seeing crime rates skyrocket. Greece might have once been a dream destination, but the current situation is causing many travelers to think twice. Would you still feel comfortable visiting this country knowing the rising risks?
And that wraps up today's eye-opening list of the most dangerous places in Europe. It's always important to be informed before you embark on your next adventure. And we hope this video has given you a new perspective on some of the world's most stunning but sometimes perilous destinations. Remember, the world is full of incredible places to explore, but not all of them are as safe as they might seem at first glance. Whether it's rising crime, political instability, or natural disasters, every destination has its own set of risks, and it's crucial to be prepared. If this video has left you thinking, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Which destination shocked you the most? Do you have any personal experiences or additional insights to share? Drop a comment below and join the conversation. We're always excited to hear from our amazing community of explorers. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update from Discover Top 5. We've got more incredible content lined up, from travel tips and hidden gems to the most mind-blowing facts and shocking truths from around the world. Want to dive deeper into the world of travel? Check out our other videos where we uncover some of the most fascinating and lesser-known places you won't want to miss. Whether you're planning a trip or just looking for some travel inspiration, we've got something for everyone. As always, stay safe, stay curious, and keep discovering the world with us. Thank you for watching Discover Top 5, and we'll see you in the next one, where we bring you more unforgettable content that will make you rethink what you thought you knew about the world.